Modern Times special edition episode. Where's Charlie's Oscar? Who stole Charlie's Oscar? What do you guys think happened?
Oh man. Well, I haven't been reading into it as much as I should be or could be. I all I know is that it's been stolen, and this is like a kind of a weird and probably inappropriate analogy, but I just think of uh, back in after his death when his
Right.
corpse was stolen. I
Exactly.
mean, it's a very bad
Similar.
because a body I think is more important than an Oscar, or maybe the Academy would not believe that. But it's sort of along the same lines. Like, where did it go? Hopefully, it gets returned.
And why wasn't it, like Sarah, like I haven't been following it to the T, but just from what I'm hearing, first of all, it's not his 1972 Oscar,
Yeah.
the honorary. It's the 1929, which most people outside of Chaplin don't even know that he was given that award. My thing is, why wasn't it near the other one? It's
Yeah.
kind of strange that you have two Oscars and they apparently are miles or,
Yeah.
I don't even,
So
Where
the other.
was it at was it at the They house, or was it back in Hollywood? I don't know where it was.
I think it was in Switzerland.
Okay.
I don't know if it's at his home, the place that they're turning into the museum,
Hmm.
but they wanted to prominently display that, I read, when the museum opens up. But at the same time, why would someone steal that? Because
Yeah.
You
it
can't do
has,
anything with it.
yeah, if you tried to sell it, it would be found out immediately.
Unless
Right.
you sold it through like the black market.
But can you imagine? It's like if I had Charlie Chaplin's Academy Award, I'd be like, I can't tell anybody. Like anything I have Chaplin, if I can't talk about it, then
What's the
it's
point?
what's the point? We were saying off camera that if you have an Academy Award, you have to sell it back to the Academy first. So if they went to sell it to, a pawn shop or, whatever, it immediately would get flagged.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that if his 1972 Academy Award was taken, that would really resonate much more than the 1929, because most people don't even know that he was given the 1929 one. And some people think that it was Douglas Fairbanks, who was the president of the Academy, gave it to him, and also to take him out of consideration. Because I think if the circus had been included, that probably would have won over Wings. I mean, I'm biased,
I think
but
it would have won over Wings. I really,
Hmm?
I don't think it would have won over Wings. Because Wings was about World War I, and that was just so recent in everyone's mind and it also, and Wings did a lot of cool cinematography
Right.
techniques and tricks.
The thing is that the vote, whoever was voting, if Douglas Fair, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they might have
But
just given it to
does
him to,
does the president of the Academy, does he have voting rights?
well, I don't know what it was. I don't
Yeah, we
know
don't know the
now or back then.
It's almost like when, the Beatles are in a running for an award show. They're going to win everything, so it's like,
Right.
Chaplin's like, okay, well, he could possibly win every award that we're going to give, so why don't we just give him his own award to just take him out of the running? Because, like, if Lennon and McCartney are at an award show and they just had a new album that came out that's, renowned the world over, if I was another artist competing against them, I would be like, I'm not even going to have a
Mm.
chance at this.
But
And it,
back in 19, it was 1929 when the first awards took place, and it only took about 15 minutes because they had already announced
right.
winners.
Right.
And they didn't start like doing secret ballots until I think 10 years later, 15 years later, because it's like, what's the point? They would just like come and pick up their award. That's what it
Right.
was.
When
And Charlie
when
Chaplin.
was the first Oscars held? Was it 29?
29, but
May
they had 3 years. They had the year of 1927, 28, and 29.
I
Right.
went to the Roosevelt Hotel in Los Angeles, which is
Mhm.
the place the first Oscars were held,
Right,
and
right.
it's this giant ballroom. And
Yeah.
we actually snuck inside the hotel. We didn't sneak inside. You can go in. I was with a friend who knew his way around the place, and we walked into the ballroom. And I don't know if you recall, there's a big shot of all the celebrities at all
Yeah,
their tables,
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
and that's the room that we were in. But you could
Right.
feel this
Yeah.
energy that was
The,
like something really important happened here.
the cool thing about the first Academy Awards, it really cemented Hollywood as an art form instead of just like a little off the beaten path way of making quick money.
Now, I would be remiss for not mentioning this because I'm sure there's a lot of Chaplin fans. This thought has gone through their head. Charles Jr. supposedly said that his father used that Academy Award as a doorstop.
Yeah.
Now, here's the strange thing. When you read a lot of things about Charlie Chaplin, sometimes you don't know, did I read it? Did I read that in Charles Jr.'s book? Did I hear it from a reliable source? But it almost kind of makes sense because I was just reviewing the other day about The Great Dictator, and I didn't realize that it actually had gotten 4 Oscar nominations.
Yeah, best screenplay, best actor, and best. The funny thing about best actor was he was nominated for like playing 2 roles essentially,
Right.
and that had never been done before. Best actor, best screenplay, best picture, and I can't remember what the last one is.
The music, the
Oh,
score.
Best score. Oh,
Right.
okay.
So,
And
was there
and
nothing for Modern Times nominated?
No.
No.
You would think in 1936, somebody that had the balls to make a silent movie in 1936, in and of
Yep.
itself, would be awarded something.
the thing is, though, Charlie Chaplin did receive an award from the New York Film Critics. He refused it. He refused the award. So he really didn't like the fact of actors and actors, competing against each other. So it almost gives credence to he possibly did use it as a doorstop.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember exactly where I read it, but it's kind of a common thing that you hear. And the fact is, not as many people outside the Chaplin circle know that he did receive this honorary Oscar in 1929.
Mm-hmm.
So they seem to think that it was an inside job. There was someone who knew of where it was and how to get to it. What do you think their intentions or their motives were? We know what their motives were when they were stealing his body, which is a whole nother story altogether.
Yeah.
It could be to just, supposedly they wanted that Oscar to be prominently displayed at the museum. And we know this museum has taken years and years to get to the point where it is now. So supposedly it's going to open next spring. So this could be somebody with malice to just take it and store it away, not sell it, to just, you don't really know what's going behind the scenes. What we do know is this museum has taken a really, really long time. So
now,
it could possibly.
what was the issues with this museum? Because it was supposed to open a while back, and they had a lot of land development issues. They had a lot of legal issues. Someone owned
Financial
this, and
issues.
someone owned that.
Right.
Right. I don't know much about it, actually.
If you go onto the museum website, I mean, as far back as, like, I believe 2007, 2008, they were like, oh, the museum's going to open, and then 2009 and 12 and 15 and 16. So I think it's just a lot of things are
scheduling, yeah.
Right. And the Chaplin family no longer owns that home.
Right.
They don't own it. So it could very well be an inside job to just, backbiting or,
Right.
But it has to be inside. I can't imagine somebody from the outside getting in because everything of Charlie Chaplin's, the archives are so, secret and,
Yeah, and if someone was going to break into something like that to steal an item, you think they would steal something that they could sell easily, not something that's one of a kind that if they try to sell it, they're going to get found out immediately.
Unless they wanted to keep it.
Now,
I would keep it.
if Michael Jackson was still alive, I would say he'd be the main culprit of that because he loved Chaplin. And
Oh
he'd have the
yeah.
power to do something like that if he really wanted to.
So
Speaking of Michael Jackson, it just popped into my head. There are photos of his room right after he died, and there was right by his bedside there was a little table, and on that table was at the time, what was that Chaplin biography that came out in like 2008? The one
Chaplin of Life.
that's sitting by his bed.
Is it a picture where Charlie Chaplin's standing up? I think for some reason in my head, I'm thinking it's the book Chaplin of Life that was written by a physician, psychiatrist, Dr. Stephen Weissman. And supposedly the book is, he puts Charlie on the couch, tries to delve into the psychological ramifications, and,
I remember this. Yeah.
yeah, I
David
think that's the book.
Robinson, David Robinson tore that book apart at that
But,
convention I was at. He
right,
said that there was so. I mean, I haven't read it personally because I haven't gotten around
right,
to it,
I
but
have.
he said there's so much wrong with it. There's so many errors. There's so many just
But
made up
this
things.
the
Oh,
strange thing is, the very strange thing is, Geraldine Chaplin gives an intro to the book.
huh.
And what he's saying, and I'm not saying this is true, I'm just saying what he's saying is that Hannah Chaplin, we all know, lost her, her mind, and he's under the impression by looking at, documents in the hospital that she had contracted syphilis, and
God.
untreated syphilis will make you go
Yeah.
insane. Yeah. So you're right. Most people do tear that book apart. The strange thing is Geraldine Chaplin has an intro to the book, so it's kind of like weird.
Has family like seal of approval on it.
Right? Yeah. That's what. Yeah. That's very very strange. But yeah, that's the book that Michael Jackson has on his nightstand.
I think Michael Jackson probably thought he could relate to Chaplin because, as like in many interviews, Michael Jackson said he had a tough childhood. He worked all the time, and so did Chaplin too.
Right.
So
Right.
Well, he even did a cover of Smile, and he released it.
like that. I like the cover. It's a good cover.
It's a super rare CD issue, I think, on eBay. Like people want like $1,000 for it, but it's him dressed up as the Tramp, and he has a little kid next to him. Like he recreated the famous image from the kid, and
Right.
I would love to have that, but it's super, But you can tell that Michael Jackson had a lot of respect towards Chaplin, and if you look at their lives and you look at their careers, they went through a lot of the same stuff, not necessarily the exact same, but a lot of scandals and
similar
tabloid stuff.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely. Because
And-
both of them were the biggest stars in their time.
And the thing is and interestingly, is when Michael Jackson passed away, in this country, people were sad, but in other parts of the world, people were like beyond, grieving,
Yeah.
because in this country, because of the scandals, people had a different take on him. And that's sometimes, to me, and I've mentioned that Charlie Chaplin is not as revered in the United States as he is in other parts of the world.
Right.
And a lot of that is, I think, is scandals and
At the
what
same
have
time,
you.
though, look at what a big news story that was when his Oscar was stolen. I mean, it was on Facebook trending for a day.
Right, right.
So
Yeah,
that shows you the power of Chaplin's persona, that in 2015, if there's a news event surrounding him, that people are going to be talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does have a similarity to, when his body was stolen,
Yeah.
and, the same thing.
For people that may not know about that, give a little background on the story of that situation.
In 1977, he died on Christmas Day, 1977, and only a few months later, his body was stolen from his grave, and it was held for ransom. And they had it for a little while, a couple weeks, a couple months, and it was, I think, recovered. Like they found it in like the woods or something. Like it was a strange thing, and to this day, they've had Chaplin's body back in his grave, but underneath cement, because just in case that happens again.
And the two men that stole it were really village idiots. I mean, they were a couple of morons.
Yeah.
And they at one point they were looking for ransom, and Una Chaplin absolutely refused
Oh
to
God.
give them any money. Then at one point they threatened to break the legs of Christopher, the youngest Chaplin. At that time, I think he was 15.
Yeah, 15 or 16.
And they found, but thank God though that they took his body and they reburied it. It was in some field somewhere, I think about 10 miles from Vevey. Thank God they didn't just toss his body,
In a river.
wherever,
Yeah.
but now he's under like 6 feet of concrete.
hmm
But most people don't know that, and it's so strange.
Yeah, and at the time when it happened, it was a news story because
Oh yes, yes,
it was
yes.
all over the place.
Another Chaplin first. I mean, how many other stories like that about a celebrity can you even think of where their body was stolen after they were buried?
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like you stole the body and they were holding it for ransom because I mean, what are you going to do with the body? And it's just unbelievable.
You have to think though that, if this is a plot to one of his movies.
Una said that Charlie would have found the humor in this. I mean, oh, I can imagine he just would have probably got a kick out of it, but she
Yeah.
was not giving them a dime. So I guess they,
Which is
reburied
also
them.
what Charlie would have wanted.
Right, right.
Didn't Charlie die not too long after Elvis Presley?
Yeah. Same year.
Elvis Presley died in April. No,
Mm.
August.
August. In August 1977. Now, I'm going to do a quick check. I don't know why in my head it's like Groucho Marx died the
Same year.
same.
Yep.
Right. I don't know why I'm thinking that Groucho Marx also was tampered with. I don't know why that's in my head, but I'm thinking that he also was tampered with after he died, but I don't want to pass, bum
Someone else.
information.
It's weird that when these celebrities pass away, it's always in like threes.
Yeah.
There's always notable people that always pass away either on the same day. I mean, this is not Chaplin related, but Freddie Mercury died the exact same day as the drummer for Kiss at the time, Eric Carr. Eric Carr died of cancer in 91. It's exact same day that Freddie Mercury died. And a lot of Kiss fans were upset because Freddie Mercury got all the press and nobody heard about the other person that passed away.
Yeah, just like when Michael Jackson died, Farrah Fawcett died the exact same day. It was and it was kind of strange too. A lot of celebrities, I feel like, died in 2009.
It's saying that his ashes were stolen. Groucho Marx's ashes were stolen like 5 years later in 1982.
Oh my God.
So it's like, that's strange. But also, when Princess Diana passed away, I think that day or the next day, that saint, she's not a saint, Mother Teresa passed away. And oh my God, she had done so much good for the world, but it was kind of buried, pardon the pun, because of all the press about Princess Diana passing away.
Well,
hmm
what do you think is going to happen? I mean, this is just pure speculation at this point, but do you think the Oscar will be found?
I have no idea who did it. I have a fair idea that it's gonna come back. It's gonna be recovered. Maybe not like tomorrow, but in a couple weeks or months. It's probably just hope.
Yeah,
I do want it to come back and go back to the family for sure.
it sounds like there's some disgruntled somebody behind the scenes. I don't think somebody outside of that, that broke in and took it. But where is the 1972 Oscar? Again, like, why weren't they together? I mean,
Yeah. Maybe one's under lock and key and one's not.
right, yeah.
It's still being used as a doorstop at the Chaplin Museum.
They're gonna use it as a doorstop at the museum.
If there's any positive message that could be displayed for this situation, this is perfect promotion for the museum when it opens up next year. If the statue is found and put back, they can make a big, publicity stunt about it.
Good.
So so that's a whole other avenue
Unless
that you could
unless they're the
explore.
publicity stunt.
Right. Yeah.
Who knows?
Something tells me they wouldn't do that, but at the same
No,
time,
they want that.
I feel like if they get the statue back and everything's fine, they'll use it as a promotional tool. Or if I'm giving them the idea, go for it. Use it
Yeah.
as a promotional tool to sell the museum when it opens up. Because I
Yeah,
know for
Right.
sure at
Right.
some point I'll end up going there. You know, that's a perfect excuse to go visit that area.
It's,
absolutely.
you know what? But the museum is so far off the beaten path. It's going to be difficult for a large majority of people to ever
Yeah.
make the pilgrimage there.
What do you think they're going to have there? And I mean, we're going to wrap this up. This is not supposed to be a hour-long episode, but
Right, right.
when that museum opens, I mean, I really haven't read outside of a few, artifacts. Are they going to reconstruct the house to look like it was when he
I
lived
heard
there?
that's what they're gonna do.
I believe the house still looks like it did when Charlie was there. And what I'll do when you post this is I'll attach a link to the Chaplin Museum, and there's a book that shows what they imagine that it's going to look like in different areas. You know, his mutual period is that, all of that. That's what they're imagining it's going to look like.
I would hope they would cover his life from birth all the way to his passing away, because I feel like when something is Chaplin official sanctioned, I feel like they
Hmm.
ignore anything. Well, I don't want to say anything, but I feel like they focus more on 1918 and onward than the earlier stuff.
Well, because that's from 1918, they have control over all of that. They have no say in the mutuals. They have no say in the S&As, anything before that. You know, full control of. So in 1918 is when he took full control of everything, and that's
I don't know
what
if
they
that's
have
true
control
though,
over.
because the new Keystone set said it was created with the Association
Oh, right.
Chaplin in mind.
Oh, right. No, no, no. That they're part of it, but as far as anything before that period, they didn't have full control over. Like if you take a picture of one of his films from 1915 and you put it on a T-shirt and then you sold it, they couldn't really, say anything to you. Now, the tramp image, they have control over the image of the tramp,
Yeah.
whether it's 1914, 15, so on. But like his films and all of that, they don't have as much control as they do from the 1918 forward, because that's, Charlie owned all of those films.
Sarah, do you have anything else to say?
Nope.
Well, we just wanted to make this little side video because it's not often that Chaplin is in the news in 2015, and seemingly things always happen to him, either whether it's his body that's being stolen or his land that his home is on trying to be taken away, or now his Oscar. So we hope that
Yes.
whoever stole the Oscar comes to their
Oh,
senses, or
oh, I wanted to mention one thing. It's kind of off the beaten path, and it might actually start a different conversation. But the whole mystery about his Grauman Chinese theater
Yeah.
footprints and handprints, whether or
I
not they ever existed,
Right.
or not they, like, where are they?
I find that strange, considering that Sid Grauman was a friend of his.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why his footprints and handprints or whatever were never at the theater. Or
Yeah.
were they taken up after his debacle, or whatever, with the communist thing?
Yeah, I've heard that story. And I've also heard someone on Facebook pointed it out that if he had gotten his footprints and handprints at Grauman's, there's like zero media about it. There's no news articles anywhere, no photographs.
Right.
So
It's strange.
so
It's
they
really
said that it
strange.
happened, but there's no proof or evidence or photos of it.
exactly.
You'd think
Right.
that would be a primary display at Grauman's, through all the years. You think that that would be one of the most famous ones that people would want to go and see.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
Well, at least Charlie has a star.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, they need a lot of preservation, because there's a lot of them that are in really bad shape. Because the earthquakes and everything, I mean,
Mhm.
earthquakes and wear and tear, because thousands of people walk over them every day. There are some that are cracked.
Oh,
Oh
The
wow.
sidewalks all cracked in some spots because of the
Oh
earthquakes and
wow.
things.
Mhm.
good Lord.
And when you think of Hollywood Boulevard and the Walk of Fame, you think of like this glitzy, sparkling
Yeah.
road, and it's just not like that anymore. It's a bunch of gift shops
Mhm.
all lined down the boulevard, and there's a lot of homeless people just sitting around on the stars,
Mm.
and
Oh
it's
wow.
just the way it is right now. But I read that
Right.
Hollywood is attempting to do a restoration and bring
Good.
back some of the glitz of its former period.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
okay. Well, thanks for listening to this little mini episode. I feel like we had to say something about it, and hopefully, if you're listening, the people that stole the damn statue, that it ends up back where it's supposed to
Yes,
be.
definitely.
So we look forward
Yes.
in the future to finding out more about this, and I'm sure we'll hear all about it, regardless of whether it gets turned up or not. And if not, and even if so, it's great promotion and publicity for the Chaplin Museum opening next year, is it?
Yeah. 2016.
All
Unless
right.
otherwise.
Yes. Yes.
All
Yes.
right, cool. Well, thanks for joining us on this little mini
Okay.
episode, and feel free to post any comments that you have about it on the Facebook page. So, all right, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.